I heard a volatile case this morning. Therapists agree that unrealistic expectations cause big trouble in young marriages. For the couple who came to see me today, unrealistic expectations led them straight to divorce court.
Divorce court is now in session.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here today with Patrina and Derrell Sherrod. The two of you have been married for how long?
A year.
1 year.
1 year. And we're in divorce court already, but you guys have been together for a lot longer than a year. So I'm going to start with you, Mrs. Sherrod. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your relationship and how we've ended up in divorce court after only 1 year?
Well, when I was 18, I met Mr. Sherrod, and it was about 10 years ago. And I was really young, and he was 20 years old, and we were in a relationship for a while, like about 3 months. And then after 3 months, I get a phone call, and it wasn't from him, it was from a lady saying that he was married and there was a kid on the way. Well, as me being young, I didn't know how to handle that. So when I talked to him, he told me that they were separate. So I was like, okay, you guys are separated. I don't know much about divorce. I don't know much about separation at 18. So I believed him. So we went on with our relationship. Well, we had a lot of ups, downs, going around with the last 10 years, him going back and forth between me and other women. And then finally we broke up completely. And we got back together about 3 or 4 years ago, and we haven't been away from each other since then. Well, since we've been married, he looks at other women. He doesn't help out with the kids we have. We have 4 kids.
That's not true, Your Honor.
So during all this getting back together and breaking up, you managed to create 4 people?
Yes, we did.
Okay. And he still has a wandering eye for the ladies.
Yes, he does.
Why don't you respond to what she just said?
So my eye isn't wandering. My eye is firmly in my head and focused on my wife.
Right.
I basically, transformed because I was a monster before. So now I'm living right and trying to, treat my wife with respect and trying
Not
to...
when he's looking at other women. That's not true.
I'm holding up my end of the bargain. My eye may stray because she's not satisfying me sexually.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
Well, wait a minute. First you claimed that your eyes were not straying. Now you're saying that they are straying.
Thank you.
But she's responsible for the stray. So tell me which one is true.
The one she thinks in her mind, because she feels she's not satisfying me, and which she is not. So in her mind, she's playing a role.
No, he wants sex 4 or 5 times a day.
Okay, hang on. Let the man finish, Mrs. Sherrod.
Okay.
What's wrong with 4 or 5 times a day?
Mr. Sherrod, look at me. Look at me. Look at me. You think that she's insecure. She thinks you're looking for it somewhere else because she knows that she's not sexually satisfying you.
No,
is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is when we got married, we had an agreement. And the agreement was I stay faithful and she picks up the slack for 3 or 4 women sexually.
Did you speak the words, yes, I will marry you if you give me sex that would reflect the kind of sex I could get from 3 or 4 different women?
That's exactly
2 women, 2 women. He said 2 women. 2.
So you did have that conversation.
Yes, the
And he
conversation.
did say, and you did agree that you would have enough sex so he would feel like he had a couple of chicks.
Yes.
Okay.
First of all, I appreciate the fact that you were truthful about your requirements and your needs.
Yes.
And a lot of people make assumptions, they assume, they wonder, but you actually spoke on it, and I appreciate it. Now, I don't know if it was 2, 4, 3, whatever it was.
Yeah, I mean...
But, Ms. Sherrod, did you understand what you were agreeing to?
Yes, I mean, I know this man. I've been with him all my adult life. So, yes, I knew.
So is he accurate when he says that your sex life is no longer what it once was?
I'm different from when I was 18. I mean, when you're 18, you have a high sex drive. I'm almost 30 now. I'm not having the same sex drive that I had when I was a teenager.
And his hasn't diminished at all?
At all. But I've had kids.
I don't think age should play a factor on this.
I've had kids. My body has changed. I've been pregnant 4 times.
Right.
So that means you had plenty of practice.
By you?
So that's...
Oh, Mr. Sherrod, let me ask, just on that. Are you doing enough to keep the romance in the relationship that would allow things to allow to rev her up a little bit, because we take a little more time and a little more attention than generally men do.
Now, I go out of my way to be romantic to my wife. But since we have so many kids, you know, it's not really much romance with no finance. So what I do is I made some love coupons for her.
Right.
And so it would go to the effect of, you know, I'll rub your back, I'll do your hair, I'll, you know, do the dishes, and she won't use the coupons thinking that we're gonna have sex afterwards.
Yes.
Which is probably what you're looking for, too.
No, but I
it
get
is.
a chance. So I can,
But I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you, because that was very creative way
and it was colorful too.
to get what he needed.
But that's for him. It wasn't for me. It was for him.
But he was trying to do for you as he was getting what he needed. Do you know what I'm saying? He's not just, come on, baby, roll over, let's go.
Yeah.
He says, well, hey, I'm gonna put some effort into it. I like a lot of sex. She's cute. I love her. I'm gonna romance her a little bit. That was very well played on his part. You know, very well played. Mrs. Sherrod, is there something he can do or something you feel you can do to re-energize your interest in that quantity of sex?
It's sexy for me if he helps me with things that I need help with around the house. Like if I see him pick up a dish and start washing it, maybe I'm gonna think in my head, well, he's helping me, I need to help him.
well, you know, why don't you come to work with me and help me at work while I take care of everybody?
Mr. Sherrod, I'm gonna interpret for her.
Okay.
What she's saying is she's the exhausted housewife with 4 kids, and if you were to pitch in a little bit, that would alleviate her burden and allow her to be more sexual with you.
Everything that I try to do to be romantic, she shoots it down. I bought her some flowers. She accused me of getting freeway flowers, which...
You know, they were freeway flowers.
Did you accuse the man of getting freeway flowers?
He did, because he you know, they sell them right off the road.
I understand.
Okay, so he
But
just
he
got 'em
bothered to do it.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
And it doesn't matter
You're
if it
right.
was off the fold 5.
It was.
So she yells across the DMV at the lady, telling her how ugly she was.
She saw me and my family there.
Right.
And she moved away from her man, sat next to us, and started licking her lips and looking at him up and down.
Have you been living together for years but find that splitting up is as complicated as getting a divorce? Call toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or visit our website at divorcecourt.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Divorce Court. Now, Mrs. Sherrod, beyond that, another complaint that you have about Mrs. Sherrod is you say she creates ugly scenes in public. And I want you to give me a few examples of some of the things that she's done in public that embarrassed you.
Okay, well, we could be at a grocery store. We were actually at a grocery store, and we were standing in line, and this woman was behind us in line, and she was giving me the eye, looking at me, knowing I'm right there with her and my family. So she saw that, made it seem like I was into the woman, so she started cussing at the lady, telling her, just cussing her out, making her feel bad about herself, and then telling her that I'm nothing. I'm basically, I don't have a job, I don't have a car, you know, and...
She was telling the other woman that?
She was telling the other woman, and then if you want him, go ahead and have him.
Because he ain't worth anything.
Yeah.
Mrs. Sherrod, did that occur?
Not exactly how he said it.
Well, why don't you tell me how it happened?
Well, he looks at other women and he stares at them and he makes sure they can see his eyes looking at him so they can make eye contact.
That's not true.
Hang on, Mr. Sherrod, go ahead.
She was behind us, and he was behind me too, so I don't know if he was making eye contact then. That's why I got angry and I started going off on her. I mean, it wasn't right to go off on her, but that's what my feelings were at the time. I was just mad. So I went off on her. Yes, I did say all that stuff and say that she needs to, if he wants her or she wants him, they can go together. But
Your
I
Honor,
was upset.
this isn't just one incident.
Hang on.
This is 2 incidents. We're at the DMV, And this lady is looking at us.
Oh, I sure did.
Hang on, what happened? What happened at the
This lady
DMV?
is looking at us, looking at me, and I caught her looking at me. She was just staring, so I was taking pictures of her staring at me to show my wife, like, look, I'm not even doing anything. This is her staring at me. So she yells across the DMV at the lady, telling her how ugly she was.
She saw me and my family there.
Right.
And she moved away from her man, sat next to us, and started licking her lips and looking at him up and down. And I went off on her. I mean, you're not supposed to
Okay, but this
disrespect
is in
me
the
like that.
DMV.
No.
So,
Mrs. Rudd, let me say this. You don't have to worry about trusting anybody but him. The other people, there are fools everywhere. There are random, free radical women really ready out there to shake up anybody's relationship. And if you let every free radical woman who wants to start some stuff to get into your head, you're gonna be hooting and hollering and shouting all day long. That's number one. Number two, people are crazy these days. You never know. Somebody pull out a gun, you know, what happened? She got shot. You know what I mean? Because you don't know who she is.
Exactly.
And you don't know the nature of her crazy. And her crazy may come at you in a lethal form.
Well, if
so
it's my
it's not
time to go-
worth it.
if it's my
You got
time to
4
go.
kids.
You're right. You're right.
It's not worth it. To me, and this is just to me, he's coming off as a guy who knew who he was, knew what he was doing, and when he decided to stop, he stopped.
Yes.
Do you have any reason to believe that that isn't true?
No.
she
It
better
just-
not. We share a phone now.
No, we share a phone. We share a phone because of that.
It's not that we couldn't afford 2 phones.
Right.
It was because, you know, she could see my incoming calls and see who I'm talking to, check the bill, check everything. So, you know, I try and filter everything through this one phone. So
So
the
she
trust
can have
level-
access and see it and be comfortable.
Yes, but her comfort level is still not up to par.
No, when he's staring and we're driving down the street and there's a woman walking and he putting his head outside the window, staring at her, they staring at each
looking
other.
at traffic.
That's
I'm
disrespectful.
driving. She's
He's not looking at traffic. He's not looking at
protecting
traffic
my
like
family,
that.
her safety.
He's not looking at traffic. I know my husband. He's not looking at traffic. They making eye contact. That's disrespectful.
Mr. Rudd, let me ask you this.
I have.
Let me ask you this.
What if I was doing that? What if I
Is maybe I'm different than most women, I don't know, but is a peak that awful? I mean, if he just happened, if he just,
A
you
peek
know,
isn't-
it's like, you know, Morris Chestnut walked through here. I'm right there.
Not me.
I'm gonna look.
No.
I'm gonna look. I'm not going nowhere. Morris don't want me. I don't want him. I got a guy.
That's Morris Chestnut. These are just average women that he's hollering at. All right.
We're forgetting about while she's in the hospital, how I have to take care of everything as well. The kids, my job, making sure she's okay.
I was in the
No one, and I mean no one, is impressed. If you would like your case to be heard on divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at divorcecourt.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Divorce Court. Ms. Sherrod, you said at critical times he has not been the husband that he needs to be, and you shared a story with me about your C-section. So why don't you tell me what failures that he displayed at that critical point in your life?
This was my 3rd baby, and I have all C-sections, and you're usually in the hospital for 3 or 4 days.
Right.
But I wanted to go home the next day, and since I was walking around fine, they said it was okay. So they released me, and I'm thinking I'm going to go home and relax, and he's going to help me out and around the house. I get home, and there's dishes, there's clothes everywhere, and I still had to cook. So me cooking, being basically split in half, and I make the meal for the family, and he complains saying that it's not cooked all the way.
Yeah,
Because I was in
she
pain.
did a terrible job on the dinner. And
Let me ask you this. It was just a couple of days after she had a C-section, right?
yes, but
Can't you cut a person some slack?
the hospital told her she was okay to go home. So if she wasn't okay to come home and go back to doing...
No, okay to come home and doing back handsprings, two different things. Just because you can get out of the hospital doesn't mean you're 100%. And you should have, not only is it a matter of whether or not she was 100%, she just went through a very difficult thing. That's surgery, that's labor, that's a whole lot of stuff. And you should have been like, wow, baby, you just brought my child into the world. You went through a lot to do it. I don't even want you cooking right now, because
it was easy.
You did that grand thing for me.
It was a lasagna that you put into the oven. It wasn't nothing major.
Mr. Sherrod, I think you're a nicer guy than that.
But we're forgetting about, while she's in the hospital, how I have to take care of everything as well. The kids, my job, making sure she's okay.
No one, and I mean no one, is impressed. People have children all the time. People have multiple children, and men show up like men when their women are doing the hard work, and they do the right thing. It's nothing new, it's nothing extraordinary, and you should have buckled down for 7 days and got it together.
I did. She didn't finish the story either. The next day, I made dinner.
That's after me telling him I just been split in half. I had to explain this to him. Like, I just had surgery.
I'm sorry, Judge. I didn't
say anything.
I'm just saying. I mean, you're looking at me like that, Judge. Like,
I'm just looking at you. Do you feel badly? I mean, do you have some kind of feelings about what's going on?
No, because I'm not a bad guy, and I love my wife. But it's just certain things have to, turn around in order for me to stay in this relationship.
What do you need for her to do other than the sex? I got that part.
Okay. Her outbursts and also her cleaning.
So she doesn't clean well enough. Is she a stay-at-home mom?
Yeah, she's a stay-at-home mom.
So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. In divorce court, people tell me the most intimate details of their lives. Join the conversation and share your experience on our Twitter page @Divorce Court and on our Facebook page. See how fans deal with their own relationships. The discussion can get heated. Don't miss it. You got 30 seconds to complain about her cleaning. Go.
Okay. She doesn't pick stuff up and wipe up underneath things. She doesn't move the couch out of the way and vacuum underneath the couch. And we have kids.
She doesn't do a deep clean.
Yes, I was raised in a military house, so basically, we have to get things in order. And if it's not...
We're going to have to get a security guard to get you out of here. Them women are about to pounce on you. I'm going to have to send Joe with you out the door over there. Let me tell you two something. You're a nice-looking couple. You're two nice people. I don't think he's a bigger jerk as he's showing us here today. I think he's having a little fun with us, and that's okay. A wife is not a pliable appliance. Your wife is a person. And it's not just about what she can do for you, it's what you need to do for each other. And I think you understand that more than you appear to, but I want to remind you of that. And if the kind of romance that you're throwing at her doesn't cause her heart to warm, then you have to find what warms her heart. You can't simply say, I've tried, and well, she didn't like this one thing, even though it was good. And I'm going to move forward. Ms. Patrina, you do not look like you had 4 children. You look fantastic. You're beautiful.
Thank you.
I think this man is faithful. If you want to do, it's difficult when people have sex drives that don't match. And I know it's hard for you, and I know it's difficult. Y'all can work out some kind of compromise. You can work something out, but don't let him go because he's not doing anything crazy and foolish. He's a little annoying.
Thanks, Judge.
But he's working. And he's a nice guy, and you guys be cool, calm, stay together. Try not to look too hard, and don't go off on any more women because I don't want you getting shot. This matter is adjourned. It sounds so simple, I shouldn't have to say it, but apparently I do. If you're trying to do something romantic and your partner tells you it doesn't work and then tells them what they want, do what they want.